I'm just going to start the thing. I started the recorder. Don't forget to use your mic.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Trying to Be Better podcast with Joel and Steve. We're glad you're here. We're back. Steve and I are live on Zoom talking. Steve's back with us. Thanks for indulging us in the bonus episode last week of Steve and I's 2017 conversation?
Yeah, like April of 2017.
We talked about the Grateful Dead and
that on purpose. Like that was a thing.
Yeah, that was a conversation that we meant to talk about the Grateful Dead, not when we put it in other conversations. So,
right.
Yeah, did you re-listen to that when we posted?
I thought it was good. I mean, it was interesting, and it was definitely us, and I felt like there was nothing cringy in it, and it was, it was just two friends talking about a journey towards a, non-destination.
A journey into the chaos, into the void.
Right. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
I feel like that's right.
One of our super fans, Matt Martinowski, sent me a text right after that one. Well, that was the day after it aired.
Get on the mic, dude.
He says, "You guys sound like a couple of stinky hippies talking the dead." So, yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Sure.
Even though we shower.
Right. That's just like, your opinion, man.
Yeah. No, it's good. I think that was a compliment coming from Matt. He's
sure. I get it. I dig it.
I think the fact that he still listens, I think, is a big deal. And
totally.
And another person in my life, my old pal Jeremy, who lives up in Minneapolis, my first college roommate. Well, he wasn't my first college roommate. He was my second college roommate after my first college roommate got drunk and puked all over our floor.
That's what it took to kick him out.
That's it. No, I left. I was like, I'm done with this cat.
Gotcha.
And so I went to live with Jeremy, but he's like, I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I sometimes only listen to one or two. He's like, I'm all in on you guys. So that's
so nice.
Yeah.
That's cool.
We got some fan mail.
We did. Eduardo mailed us, and he's very interesting. And thank you for listening. And he's also our contest winner from the Christmas extravaganza episode. And I'm working on getting some swag put together for Eduardo.
I love it.
But thanks to him, I've been reading or listening to, I guess, the Book of Joy that he suggested.
Oh yeah,
with the Dalai Lama and Desmond Tutu, and I can't recommend that highly enough.
Yeah, that's that's the real stuff there.
Well, yeah, and it's really just delightful. It's much like, not that I would ever dare compare us to the Dalai Lama and Desmond Tutu.
Yeah, please don't.
but they're just the book is just them meeting for a week, which they don't get to do very often.
Right.
To talk about joy.
Oh wow.
From their very different traditions, right?
That's super cool.
And what, how they do that and what they see as the obstacles are to joy, and like the difference between happiness and joy. And and it's just it's an easy listen because they're mischievous guys.
Yeah.
And they really have a good time kind of giving each other a hard time, but also, and you may be able to relate to this, when they actually have because they do have differences in belief and they have differences of opinion, although opinion doesn't factor much into it. But they do kind of call each other to task about their beliefs in a way that's respectful and loving, and realizing that ultimately they're after the same thing.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's a book that Kirsten's had on her shelf. She's read it. That she's suggested I read. It's one of those. It's like, oh yeah, I'll get around to that. So
put it on the list because it's really. Put it in the hopper. I mean, obviously, I have time to listen to audiobooks in the car, but this one's just been. It's just fantastic, and it's easy. It's like you'd think, well, that's going to be really heavy, or hard to digest or whatever, and it's just not. It's because they're just so enjoyable. Frankly,
is it? Who's reading it? Is it them, or do they have
there's the guy that's kind of and I can't remember his name. He's the third writer, and I forget his name. I apologize, but he's kind of the writer of it, and he kind of facilitates the discussion. So
Okay.
he kind of narrates it, and then there are actors, voice actors
Okay.
playing the Dalai Lama and Desmond Tutu.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
It is super cool. So it's really like it's really like getting to be a fly on the wall while these two guys are having these discussions and like eating lunch and stuff.
That's really cool.
It's really cool. Like I had no idea. Again, it just kind of opened up my eyes to just exactly how ignorant I am of like world affairs. I didn't know the history of the Dalai Lama.
Right. Yeah.
Exiled and all that. I mean, I was vaguely aware of that, but had no real idea.
Right.
Of what Desmond Tutu's been through. And it's really, so I'm like really eye opening on that level outside of just the whole joy factor.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, thanks, Eduardo. Cause like that, I've known that cat for a while when I worked, as a youth director at a church, and he's an ordained elder, and I think he's an elder. I think he's an ordained elder in the United Methodist Church. He's sort of the chaplain at Nebraska Wesleyan, and so that's how I met him. But I've kind of taken weird turns, professionally, and don't do that work anymore. But I'm so grateful that I got to hook up with Eduardo. What a cool dude.
Well, the email he sent was very nice, and it was thoughtful and thought-provoking. So thanks, Eduardo.
Yeah, man. Thank you, dude. And anybody else that wants to email us, please do. I mean, get in on the conversation.
podcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, get in on the conversation. We're down for it. Jeremy alluded to, he's like, I think what he said, basically what I interpreted what he said, besides lauding praise on us, was that, we bring up so many things that we can't always chase all the way down the drain. And he's like, man, you guys throw out so much stuff. Like there's so many things you want to grab onto. And I've gone back to listen to some of our episodes. I'm like, man, yeah, we could have fleshed that. That could have been a whole nother hour.
Right. Well, that's good. Cause I plan on keeping on doing this. I don't know about you. We're going to need stuff to talk about. So,
well, I mean, that's a good time to bring up, like, did anything happen that we can talk about this week, Steve? Was there any current events?
Let's see. Well, I suppose we could start with the armed insurrection of idiots at the White House.
Oh my God. And I was here's the thing. We're gonna get to a topic, but I got a bone to pick with this for a lot of reasons.
Really? I'm shocked.
But it was like I'm watching this thing happen. I'm watching armed citizens storm the Capitol, and I'm kind of like, this is horrible, awful.
Wait a minute. What country was this in?
In the United States, in Washington, D.C.
It wasn't some other shithole country?
No. Oh. And the other thing I was thinking, I'm like, well, I guess what fresh hell will come tomorrow, because that's what I've been conditioned to think is like, this was Insurrection Day, but
it was Insurrection Day.
But what's going to happen tomorrow? Because it'll probably outdo it.
Well, that's just it. It's just been one fresh hell to the next for 4 years.
Yeah.
It's literally been every day has been some new fucking piece of just
garbage.
Yeah. Flaming
Flaming turd garbage. And and like I
swear to God, man, I remember like as soon as inauguration day of 2016 and the pictures and that, what the fuck was the press secretary's name that ended up being on
Spicer, Sean Spicer.
Yeah. Then they ended up doing dancing the flamenco on Dancing with the Stars. Spicer. Some makeup artist had a really great time with him on that one. We should post a link to that because it's hilarious. But yes, and the first thing, like day one, is like, we had the biggest inauguration day ever. I was like, no, you didn't.
Yeah. That's how this relation's gonna go. You're just gonna start just fucking lying to us,
right? Immediately, just
out the gate,
just bald-faced lying. And I was like, well, of course they did that, because that's what authoritarian fascist dictators do.
Exactly. Yes. Yep. Here we are. So it's just been like cranking up the heat to the boiling point. It's like, this is the boiling point. Right. And then I'm sitting here today while I'm trying to put together. I'm trying to do my job, write a syllabus, while there's like hundreds of Republican Congress people defending the insurrection
and you know why that is? They're not so much defending it, is that now what they're saying is, well, this is the time for unity. is we need to put the past behind us and not be held accountable for anything.
Right.
Because here's the thing, folks, what they're really actually saying is we absolutely 100% intend on doing this again as often as possible until democracy's dead and we can just take everything.
Because pure, open, fair elections favor progressives,
right?
And they know that,
right? So, like this whole violent insurrection thing, yeah, that actually might work if we circle around and hit it harder next time.
Well, that's the message I think is going to those folks is that they basically what a lot of those, I mean, in some kind of flat out said it like we are this is going to fan the flames. It's like what they're saying is don't impeach because the people that tried to overthrow the government might get mad, and so we don't want to make those people mad.
Fuck
so
them.
we should just take our spines out through our asshole and wave it around on the floor.
Right.
And, it's like, really? Like you agreed that it's a bad thing and that they threatened the life of you and the vice president.
Right.
But you're afraid of them. So now we've gone from, 9/11, we don't negotiate with terrorists to, I think we're afraid of terrorists and we're going to state it on the public record.
But really, that's a smokescreen because really they want that to happen.
Because what else? I mean, they can't, if they let everybody vote, especially all the black and brown folks that turned this election around, they are basically negating the mandate by the work that people like Stacey Abrams did in Georgia and across the country. And that's terrifying to them.
Like just the thing of like everybody's happy or whatever that he got impeached today. Like, did that change anything?
Still no.
It didn't change. It didn't change anything. What did that change?
It's a weird statistic in the history books that
but it didn't actually change anything. It did not hold him accountable on any actual level.
No, and Mitch McConnell's already said that there's going to be no hearing in the Senate until after Biden's inauguration.
Right. So, and that'll be a circus and a shit show, and he may actually get whatever not removed from office. He may lose the ability to run for office again. But let's face facts. He's not a healthy person.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like the odds of him being any sort of formidable. I mean, they can pump him full of steroids and put him on a 2-wheel dolly and prop him up in stages around the country to say horrible racist shit and to be cruel. He can do that. But the odds of him actually he will just be literally a marionette at that point.
Right.
Because his health is very
What if we just gave him a GoPro and a tent and he can just live in front of the 100 feet of wall that he built and just yap from there
That's actually a pretty good idea.
You know what I mean? And just be like, you know what? And just send some actors out there.
All of his fans $20 a month to watch it. And
we'll just live stream it.
That might that would be one of his very few legitimate sources of income.
Right. He can just spout off and talk about the wall that he built. It's just like Trump's wall. We'll put it we'll put it in lights. People can go down there and watch it'll be like the Abraham Lincoln thing at Disneyland. That just he's just saying the same thing. And you just go there and you pay the money. Everybody gets COVID.
Audio animatronic Trump.
Yeah. You just get him in front of the wall. That's all he wanted. Look, I built.
You can have him doing the making fun of handicapped people gestures.
Yeah, he can do all the racist stuff and the misogynistic stuff. He can grab people by their genitals.
Grab people by the pussy.
Yeah, if you give enough money, he can, sexually assault you or at least praise
Maybe he'll grab your daughter's pussy.
Oh my God. You might have to edit that out.
God. That's the thing. That's the thing. I was talking with my friend Brian about this last night, and I think we're gonna have Brian on one of these eventually.
Yeah.
He's like, well, Brian being ever the diplomat, saying, you kind of have to feel. He was making the point that so many of these people were they fell for the line.
Yeah.
Right, and that therefore they are deserving of some understanding of that, forgive them, Lord, they don't know what they've done, kind of thing.
Right.
And my answer to him was, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
Because you failed the morality test at grab them by the pussy.
Right.
You failed the morality test at Mexicans are murderers and rapists.
Exactly.
And failed the morality test so many times, but you failed it in early 2016
right
on those 2 points right there.
I mean, he failed a long time with the Central Park Five. He's failed it his whole life. He owes money to foreign countries. He's invited, election interference from our adversaries. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on and on.
And let's just, kids in cages.
Right. But here's the thing. I love cults. Okay. I
love cults.
I mean, I don't love cults because they're abusive and wrong and horrible, but I love watching documentaries
what about that sexy
cults.
one though?
The NXIVM cult?
Yeah.
There is let the record show there is zero sexy about that cult.
Thank you.
There is I love you.
Save the hate mail. That was. Did the snark not come through on that?
What's that?
Did the snark not come through on that sufficiently?
No, I don't know. I didn't. I don't think it did.
I'm sorry. Please, for the love of God, save the hate mail.
The sexy cult.
Look, if David Cross could talk about how sexy the Catholic Church is.
Ooh. There's your QAnon conspiracy right there. That's a whole nother episode. But the idea that somebody could be so incensed that they put all of their eggs in the Trump basket and the emotions get involved, and then it's like us against them, and maybe he is our, and then they go down the rabbit hole of conspiracy.
Our savior.
Yeah, conspiracy theories, and they're wrongly interpreting biblical scripture, and they think he's somehow the second coming, or there's some sort of holy war happening.
A failed real estate developer that was born into wealth. His only actual source of income that anybody can tell is laundering Russian gangster money.
And that stupid TV show. Yeah, he's a TV game show host.
Serial philanderer, like documented. It's not debatable. Like he fucks porn stars while his wife's at home pregnant. I mean, it's just like.
Yes,
and said that he would sleep with his daughter, so he's a classy guy.
But here's the other thing, dude, is that people
somehow the second coming.
But here's the thing: people give money to ridiculous televangelists. People,
that is true.
People believe that priests didn't abuse children. People believe all kinds of stuff.
Right.
Here's the deal: like if you drink the Kool-Aid. Right. Okay. Let's just thought experiment here. And there is the possibility for compassion, although I don't really have a lot of compassion for people that, 6 months ago said, back the blue, cops are whatever. And then all of a sudden they're like, rah, sis boom, when somebody kills cops at the Capitol. Anyway.
Yeah.
But if you're so entrenched in a cult and your brain is so wired that way, and then the actual leader of that cult says, yeah, this is all fake. The election was fraud. They're stealing it from you.
Mm-hmm.
Then they basically say, I mean, all they have to do is flip the switch of you need to take this over. And the funniest part in watching his speech that morning was that he's like, I'll be there with you. I was like, yeah, right. He was in that White House bunker, watching it with his son, laughing about it. Was like, the Bears winning the Super Bowl. It was like, he lit the fire and walked away.
Yeah.
But the fire was stoked because people are like, well, I believe this. I've bought all the flags. I've given to the Trump campaign, and he's telling me this is a fraudulent election. I mean, what do I do? I mean, that's cult mentality. It's total cult mentality.
100%.
So, and it takes a lot to yank people out of a cult.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I like the thing of, there was a meme going around about like, in this day, it's hard to tell like what is true and what is right.
Yeah,
and
it really is.
How do you know like what's real? And here's a really great test is if you're at a thing and you look to your right and you're standing by a Nazi.
Yeah.
That's wrong.
Yeah.
Like that's the test. Like, am I standing by or supporting people that are Nazis? Like actually wearing Nazi garb. That's how you know. That's where the line is. Like in case you were wondering what the test was, that's the test.
That's the test.
If you've ever found yourself supporting something that has a lot of Nazis in it, you're wrong.
You're wrong.
Unless you're actually supporting the Nazis.
Right.
In which
that's
case,
when you have to have that crisis of faith. Like, well, if the guy next to me has that shirt about like, 6 million was not enough, that horrible message, and then you look to your left and it's the guy saying like QAnon, like Joe Biden eats children in a basement somewhere,
right,
with Hillary Clinton videoing it, and then the guy behind you's got a shirt that says Camp Auschwitz on it.
Yeah.
And you look around and you're like, oh, I don't think I signed up for this. The beauty of the freedom of this country is that you could say, you know what, maybe I was wrong. I mean, maybe I'm a conservative, but maybe I'm not a Nazi. Or you say, you know what, I'm a Nazi.
I'm a Nazi.
And that's not cool either, but at least own it. That's the deal. Yes. Because, and here's the thing, and I'd love for
people like, that's where people like, oh, our governor.
Yeah.
They're able to smile through that and just people go, oh, he's such a nice guy. Oh, he's a fucking Nazi.
Exactly. And here's the other thing, and I'd love somebody to fact check this because frankly, I don't have time, but I'm pretty sure that every fascist regime has grown from conservative, from the right. I don't think that's why it's like, it's so weird because I have Trumpians in my life that say, you know, actually the real fascists are the liberals. And it's like, that's never been the case. And it's not the case here.
Well, it's like those pictures I sent you and the guys the other night of the old propaganda documents, or actually anti-propaganda documents, where like
Dr. Seuss ones.
Yeah. Early, you know, pre-World War II, like America first.
Yep.
Like it's like, wait a minute, these tapes have been played before, and look what happened.
Right. And I heard that same phrase on the House floor today: America first, America first, America first.
Yeah, that's all. It's a dog whistle. It's a.
So, right. I mean,
because nothing else, no other place in the world matters, because we're the best.
We're the best.
We're the best at people dying from COVID.
It's like, yeah, we are the best at that.
We're really good at that.
Trump is the best at getting impeached.
Yes, he is the best at getting impeached.
He's the best. He's number one.
He is number one. Yeah.
You know,
best at bankruptcies.
I mean, that's the thing too that's really dark and sad, is that the last 2 months have been clouded by this president's insane, you know, I'm on it. Steve's like pointing at I'm like, I can't be eating the mic any more than I am right now. And
yeah, see, like, but I can hear the difference right now. See,
I lost my train of thought. It's gone.
I don't know. Sorry. I just want you to sound good, dude. That's all.
I know. Well, there's like an episode a couple of weeks ago where I didn't even turn this mic on. So it was just, I was talking into the mic and it was picking up my computer audio. So it sucks. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Whatever.
Are we okay?
I don't know.
Good?
No.
Are you all right?
Sure. For the purposes of our listening audience, that when I have to be okay, I'm fine.
Are you though? I mean, let's segue into the next sort of bit.
Well, okay, yeah.
Let's talk about this. Like, I love you, and I didn't mention it when I introduced
and I appreciate that
the Grateful Dead episode, but
yeah, my for those of you wondering what the hell that's all about, my father passed away New Year's Eve morning early from complications of congestive heart failure.
Yeah.
And so, you know, there was just one final, I mean, on the one hand, the earth rotating around the sun is just what it is. Time is a construct, and all this hoopla about 2020 is like, well, whatever. It's just a label. It doesn't really actually mean anything. But the fact that my dad died on New Year's Eve day was kind of one last final fuck you.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's why we didn't do a podcast last week. It's just because there was stuff going on, and we had to, do all the things that happen when somebody in your immediate family passes away unexpectedly. So yeah, that's been a lot to, it's just been it's been kind of a crappy month, frankly, on that level. My buddy Seth has the brain cancer thing going on. My dad dies, and we have, really, really lots of positive things happening nationally. And, well, Georgia's great, and, Uncle Joe's president, but whatever. Like, that's just been a lot to process, and still like going to work and doing all the things and getting up. And, I went to work. Let's see, Dad died. Well, I guess that would have been, was that Thursday? Yeah. And then so I had kind of the weekend to process, but I showed up to work Monday morning, because I had some things I needed to do, and I thought, well, it might be nice to have something kind of normal,
Yeah. Yeah.
something kind of
Yeah.
that I
Right.
recognize, and that ended up being a huge mistake because I like very quickly, like I took care of a couple of things I had to do, and like people kind of started wanting things, and I
Mm-hmm.
literally like I went straight to the place of like my fucking dad just died,
Mm-hmm.
and this is the shit that you want to fucking talk to me about right now,
Right.
seriously, like
Right.
go fuck yourself. And then
Right.
I had to pull back and think, oh, they, because I haven't actually announced that yet, nobody knows that,
Right.
like my boss,
Right. Right. Yeah.
I hadn't made an announcement, and so
Yeah.
I realized like I shouldn't be here right now,
Mm.
and so I took care of those things and was nice to the people and left,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and talked to my boss, and like I took another couple of days off and it was fine.
So did you, I mean,
um
did you, were you
well,
like,
plus we had
I'm
the
just,
funeral.
well, you were like, I'm just going to go to work just to keep on keeping on? Or was it
A little
like,
bit, yeah. I mean, there was an element of like 4 days, Thursday, Friday. I mean, Thursday was ground zero, and that
yeah,
was just being there with my mom and starting to take phone calls. There was just so many phone calls. It was just so many
yeah,
people, which is
yeah,
amazing,
right.
calling family and responding to, as people got the word, them calling us and just responding to messages, and going like I Thursday morning I helped the mortician bag my dad up, like put his
Mm.
corpse in the body bag,
Yeah.
and then after that was all done, and that was that was a tough morning for a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
Um then going to the, funeral home, and thank God my dad was my dad and everything was settled.
Yeah.
Everything was
Yeah.
planned. We had to make some tweaks for COVID, but like all we had to do
I,
was sign off on the things and approve a couple pictures, and like we didn't have to decide anything.
that was the thing that I noted because I watched the live stream of the memorial,
Oh yeah.
which was really beautiful. And then the pastor was like, "Yeah, this is exactly how Craig wanted everything."
Uh-huh.
So it's like that is really a gift
It's a
that
gift.
he
I
was able
will
to
tell
say,
you, if anybody's listening to this and you need some like, end of life / bereavement advice, do that for your family.
"Just write it down." Yeah,
Just, well, yeah, I mean, he already had everything arranged. There was
it's
nothing to
amazing.
decide.
I mean, he even knew, like, because I knew that pastor from
Yeah, yeah.
my family knew him, and he even said, like, Craig heard this sermon one morning and he came up to me after church and said, "That's the sermon I want at my funeral."
Yeah.
And here it is in the
Right.
documentation. Like,
Yeah.
so he gave that sermon about heaven. And it
Yeah.
was like, I was like, man, and I thought about that. I'm like, that's one thing to, like, I want everybody to have this experience to remember me by, but
Mhm.
also, like, subversively, it's a gift to your mom, to you,
Totally.
to the
That's, I
family.
mean,
Like,
that's what he intended. I mean, he wanted to make his final statement, but it was also
sure.
a gift to my mom.
Yeah. Right.
In your time of grief, you don't have to deal with any of this shit.
Wow.
All you have
Yeah.
to do is show up,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it was really kind. And Holly's mom's mom did the same thing. She had
Mm.
everything arranged. She even had Holly's mom's mom, Holly's nana, who was a wonderful woman. She even had like lunch all paid for from the
Wow.
from the
Wow.
Italian deli in Des Moines.
Yeah. Wow.
And we ate peppers and onions and sausage and pasta till we just couldn't eat anymore. It was
Right.
beautiful.
Nice.
Yeah, it was
Wow.
fantastic.
Yeah.
But due to COVID, we didn't get to have the Methodist ham salad.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
after,
Yeah, I know the salad.
that's what I'm saying.
I know
So
that
we didn't get
salad.
to do that.
Mm,
It was strange. It was weird.
mm.
Just that we didn't get to have. It was cold out. It was really cold
Yeah.
morning, so we did the outside military honors and all that. And like my dad's best friend from forever was up. He came up, and we could tell it was very difficult for him.
Hmm.
Like he just lost his buddy.
Right. Right.
And so that was hard because it was cold, and we really were just kind of like we couldn't go eat the ham salad and talk.
Right.
So I
Yeah.
sent him an email later with a good recent picture of my dad, and he appreciated that. And
That's cool.
we'll keep those lines of communications open just because I know it's hard.
Yeah.
It was just like tonight, I was kind of cleaning off my little desk area here so that we could do this. And my dad sent a Christmas card to Holly and I, and um, I looked at it and it just said, we love you, best wishes, Mom and Dad Erbauer. And I just
Mm-hmm.
started crying.
Yeah.
I just started
Yeah.
crying because and I noticed it when I opened up at Christmas that his handwriting had changed. His handwriting didn't change at all forever. It
Right.
looked like old person handwriting.
Yeah.
It looked less sure.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And I
Mm-hmm.
noticed that. I thought, oh gosh, Dad's handwriting has changed.
Yeah.
Um, and but like I read those lines and like I'm not going to get into it a lot, but my dad and I's relationship was complicated to say the
Mm-hmm.
least. And
Right.
we managed to have a few good years at the end, and that's great. But like I know that despite everything, that he really meant those lines. Those are
Yeah.
you kind of, you put best wishes, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But like he took the effort in his unsteady hand to write those things out,
Yep.
and he meant it.
Yep.
We love you. Best wishes,
Mm.
Mom and Dad,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And so I just started crying,
Yeah.
you know, because that's, it's last few years we actually talked and had a pretty good time doing it. There were certain things we did not talk about.
Right. There's
Um,
there's the thing. I mean, I have the same with my dad. It's like I can't, I mean, I've had to set boundaries. Like then you've helped me immensely with that. And I hope that I'm able to sow those lines with my old man. But like, yeah, like how cool is it to be able to have something, right?
yeah,
Like it's not perfect. I'll,
no,
so I want to let you finish this story, but I have to tell it so I don't forget.
uh-huh,
Like, because I've had some issues with my dad, and there's been some real disconnect about the first, third of our podcast about the way I think about the world, the way he thinks about the world, right?
right, yeah,
And there was a time where he was sending me a lot of stuff that I didn't agree with, and I had to say no, please stop that. And I was really dealing and talk to Kirsten about it, and she was like, Joel, you're gonna have the relationship with him that you're gonna have, and it may not be what you want, but you have to, that sort of thing, what you've been able to achieve with your dad. And that night I had a dream. Okay, go with me here.
uh-huh,
I had a dream that I was at this like deli or something, and I was going to have a cheesesteak, but they were out of the steak for the cheesesteak.
uh-huh,
So they gave me a really nice hoagie bun, put cheese and extra peppers and jalapenos and stuff in it, and they're like, "Here you go." And I was like, "Okay, I can live with this." And I was eating it. And that morning I was like, told Kirsten, I'm like, "Yeah, I had this really weird dream about a cheesesteak." And she's like, "Joel, do you see like the cheesesteak? You're able to have the cheesesteak that you have with the people in your life. It may not be what you want, but it's what you have, and it sustains you." And like ever since then,
wow.
I'm like, oh, cheesesteak. Oh, cheesesteak.
You
Okay.
were enjoying the cheesesteak that you had.
What else can you do? I mean,
Right.
that was in the dream. It was like, yeah, you could starve, or you could be grateful for what you,
Or
even
you
if it's
could
nowhere
throw
near
a
what you.
shitty cheesesteak at the person behind the counter and say, fuck this.
Yeah, you can make a scene if you want.
Right.
Anyway, I totally interrupted you,
I don't
but
remember. Fine.
I guess, yeah. I mean, how has it been since? I mean, it's been what
2 weeks. Today's 2 weeks. Well, tomorrow will
Today's
be 2 weeks.
what's
I don't honestly I have no perspective.
yeah.
Um, when I'm at work, I just do my job. When I'm at home, I try to be present there. Like tonight, like I had my moment with the greeting card and I'm crying, and my wife was in the middle of, she was having problems. It's a whole thing with her work. And
Mm-hmm.
so she was really focused on that. And so I'm like, well, I'm, she's focused on that. So I'm just going to have my moment here and whatever,
Yeah. Yeah.
and, cause that's going to happen, um, it's hard. I mean, I think that's the
Mm-hmm.
understatement of the century,
Yeah.
it's
Right.
just hard, and it's just grief. And the thing that I'm so incredibly thankful for is, and this is going to sound so cheesy, but just that like this too will pass. All things
Yeah.
pass.
Yes.
And I've even talked to my kids about this. Like, there's no way around this one.
Yeah.
There's no way around it. You just have to walk through it. And that's sometimes a minute at a time. It's the universal spiritual principles that
Yeah.
undergird everything, which is like, this is one of the big ones. So I
Right.
just have to be, I have to be gentle with myself.
Yes.
And when I find myself mentally melting down or going off the rails, I just have to take a step back and say, this is a stressful time, and this is probably not an unreasonable reaction, but it's also nobody's fault. So be nice, you know.
Yeah.
And
So
it's like,
like, I mean, there's a lot there though, Steve. One thing I want to, I mean, you and I have been talking since your dad passed, and one of you talked about how you told your daughters, and it was not lost on me that you, as their father, were telling them about how you just lost your father and how you were, you're going to have to figure out how to fix that game or whatever that is, like you're like, I'm going through this. This is what's happened.
oh yeah,
And
yeah,
also, like also you said something like, yeah, I'm going through this thing right now, kiddo. And I can't be fully present for you because I just lost my dad. And they kind of got it.
They
And
did. They
like,
totally got it. Actually, that
I
was
just
that
found
was
that to be,
amazing. I'll flesh that out a little bit because I did. I remember. Thank you. I had that conversation because I told them initially, like the afternoon after he died, like after we kind of been in the mortuary and stuff, because I wasn't going to tell them their grandpa just died and then leave, you know.
right. Yeah.
So and it was. I mean, that was the initial kind of drop the bomb on them. And my younger daughter, I mean, she wears her emotions with a megaphone. She just starts crying and she hugged me and said, "I love you, Daddy. I'm so sorry." And the older one's just kind of looking at her feet and kicking the rug a little bit, you know, which is a very me reaction at that age. And she, you know, she's very holds her emotions close to the vest, you know. And so that was, you know, and so like, and there were just times where kids were being kids, and I'm like, yeah, you're gonna have to figure that one out.
Yeah.
You're like, my dinner looks weird. I'm like, well, fucking don't eat it. You know, I don't know what to tell you. It's the same dinner you've always had.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to figure that one out. I got nothing for you. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't usually. In fact, I don't use the F bomb around my kids. But anyway, for those, my God, he said that in front of his kids.
They've never heard it at school, I doubt.
You know, funny story. The first time we watched the movie A Christmas Story, which was I think 3 years ago, maybe.
Yeah.
And it came around to the scene where Ralphie says the F dash 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 word.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
And my older daughter looks at me and she goes, "What was the word, Daddy?"
Oh.
And I was like, "Yeah, you'll find out later." Okay, let's get back to the movie. It was such a sweet moment, you know?
Yeah.
Because I thought when that scene came on, I went, "Oh no, here it comes. We're gonna have to, you know."
Yeah.
And so anyway, and this year when we watched it, she didn't ask me what the word was, so I think she probably knows what it is.
She might have figured it out.
My father worked in profanities the way other artists work in oil. My father wove a tapestry of profanity that, as far as we know, is still hanging over Lake Michigan.
Yes.
All we hear is Lake McConaughey.
Lake McConaughey.
Anyway, whatever. Point being is, so I had been kind of short with them, so I wanted to tell them, and I made a point to tell my daughters that this is a really hard time, and that I'm not like my resources are tapped
right
for the moment, and maybe for the and it will come and it will go. But I just told them, like, look, if I'm disengaged or dismissive, please do not take it personally. It's just I don't have anything at the moment, and I think trying to not cry.
I think that's really, I don't know if you, I don't have children,
I don't know what they both just said, like we were driving to piano. They just said, we get it. Like, we get it. Like, it's fine. Like, we understand that this is really hard. And like, what do you need? This was kind of their response. And I'm like, I said, I just need you to keep being you, you know?
Wow. Cause like, and here's the thing that I was going to say earlier, sorry, I tried to cut you off, but the beautiful thing about that is that you and Holly have created a space that you can be vulnerable in front of them and teach them that there's some boundaries there with grief, and that it's, oops, my computer's making noises. Sorry. That there's like, there's all kinds of ways that you can teach your family how to walk through something like that, and letting them know that it can be hard, and they can see that. I mean, young children, that impression, that's like, they look to adults to figure out the world and how to feel about stuff. And like, I don't know, I just find that to be really beautiful.
Well, that's, you know, it kind of, people ask me, like, you know, during this COVID nonsense, like, how are your kids handling it? And I just say, well, they will handle it as well as we handle it.
Right.
Like, they will do what we do.
Right.
And so that was our kind of what do you call it, signpost, guiding light, whatever.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
not that we ever sugarcoat things, but we try to discuss things in an age appropriate fashion.
Sure.
It's like asking, about, how do you talk to, how do you tell an 11-year-old and a 13-year-old that a bunch of armed idiots just stormed it's like,
That's why I talked to a friend earlier today, and she does, and we'd love to have her on. She does some consulting and work with the public school system here, and they have asked her to come maybe talk to students about stuff, and she asked them like, well, what, she asked, I don't know, maybe she has high school students in her community or whatever, and she asked them like, well, what are they telling you, like, what are the teachers telling you? And they're like, yeah, we don't talk about it.
Right. Which is
like, what?
Well, I mean, that's a dicey area because how do you, I mean, in those liberal elite higher education institutions, there's so much freedom to talk about your communist ideas.
Yeah.
In public funded, secondary schools, that's a little different situation
for sure. Yeah, I talk about,
and you never know. Like I remember one of my this is a few years ago, but one of my daughters had one of her teachers told them that Iraq caused 9/11, and I had a real problem with that.
Yep, sure.
Like that's factually incorrect and can be literally a 20-second Google search will show you that that's absolutely not the case.
Right.
So we had to have a little discussion about that. And of course, that zapped my kids' brains. Like, so my teachers aren't always right. Like, not in this case.
Wow. Mm-hmm. And that's I mean, going back to just like you being open and vulnerable in an age appropriate way. Like you probably didn't have the full on, guttural grief tears in front of them. Maybe.
No, I did not. I did not see that.
Right. But you're able to say, I lost
save those for the shower.
Right. Right.
Right. Yeah. I don't want to, they don't need to see that. That's not helpful in any fashion,
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of a downer, right?
but you're moving through, like, that's the thing. Like, you and I can have the raw conversation between two best friends after we stop recording this. But like, the thing that I think is really beautiful, and I'm really grateful that you were open enough to kind of share about this, Steve, because Lord knows some shit could go down in my life tomorrow that I need to talk about, but, like, how are you moving your feet? How are you putting one foot in? I mean, like, that's the hope. Yeah.
Here's the thing about that is what other choice is there? I mean, believe me, what I want to do sometimes, and not all the time, but sometimes, like this last Monday, all I wanted to do is go back to bed and just stay under the covers. That's all I wanted to do, but I couldn't. So I had to go to work and blah, blah, blah. But like, this is all the stuff we talk about in the secret meetings and all the stuff they talk about in the churches and it's like, this is not about me. The loss is not about me. I didn't die.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I lost. I can't even say that I lost my father, because I don't even know that we had that kind of relationship, frankly. Which was a problem for both of us.
Right. Yeah.
We were kind of getting to a place where we respected each other.
Yeah.
For most of the but really what it's about is like my mom. My mom is still here.
Yep. And she lost her partner of 50 years.
53 years they were married.
Goodness gracious.
And right. And so, like, for me to try to obviously I have my feelings and I have my grief, but like, if I start wallowing in that, that's where it's a problem. Right. And so, like, I don't get to take that out on anything. Right. I mean, I might, so it's just a weird thing to navigate, because when I feel sad, I mean, I lean towards snippiness and hostility. Right. And so like so I get, and this has been a really great lesson in life, I guess, in that, like how important is all the stuff that was such a problem before now?
Yeah.
And the
Well,
answer is some of it's still kind of important, but it's dialed down a lot, right? It's not to say that there weren't problems, because there were problems. And it's not to say that there weren't disagreements, because there were disagreements.
Mm-hmm.
But like that's not what comes to mind now.
Wow, because that's interesting for me to hear. Who I can call, I could pick up the phone and call my dad right now. He's still with us.
Uh-huh.
There is a lot of, there's a lot of my own action that have built a moat, between us a little bit. So that's what I'm like, is that going to be so overwhelming? And everybody's different, but it's interesting to hear you say that a lot of that kind of melted away, and you can see it. You see it differently after you've been through that. And I know it's only a couple of weeks, man. Like, it's pretty raw.
Well, it's like it's the the whole thing of you don't know what you got till it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's so real.
Yeah,
that is so real. And so I mean that's it. It's like that. So, and just like getting through, it's like, so I've talked to my mom in the last 2 weeks more than I have in probably the last 6 months.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
I've tried to see her almost every day this week. That hasn't happened, but and COVID just makes that weird. But
yeah.
So I'm just trying to be there and try to, like, I'm really genuinely trying to think of like, well, what does my mom need right now? How can I help that situation?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm very fortunate that my mom's a pretty together person. She's got her own credentials,
Yeah, right.
She's not helpless by any stretch. She's very sad. But she's also moving through it. Like she's not, I mean, I joke, but like, she's not sitting at home drinking and crying.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good. That's good.
So much, like that's not, I know that she is crying, but it's a natural grief thing, and she's talking about it.
Yeah.
Right. She told me, we had dinner with her the other night. She said, well, I broke down crying. I'm like, good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, that's great.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Right.
That
for sure.
Natural and normal,
How's your sister doing with all that?
It was so good to see her and my brother-in-law and their kids. And she's, I don't know. I haven't talked to her for a few days. I should probably talk to her. I mean, she's sad, it's and like her life is outside of losing her dad is stressful, and she's just got stuff coming at her from all sides with work and stuff. And so it's like, it's the same thing. It's like, on a certain level, you literally just have to just show up.
Right.
Like, no matter what.
Just show up.
No matter what. And that's kind of what we're taught. It's like, this is the stuff that we're taught, like in recovery and in therapy and whatever, is like that whole thing of like, you just show up no matter what, you just do the thing that you said you were going to do, even if your dad just died.
Woof.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, still do that to the best of your ability, no matter what.
It's like, I mean, my scenario, what I'm about to say, I'm not equating at all, but it was a little flash. Yesterday I got news that my sister had a stroke, and she's 10 years older than I am. She's okay.
Good.
She is a badass, and she's, she woke up and both of her right appendages didn't work.
Oh my gosh.
And she was walking to the bathroom in the hospital by the end of the day. I mean, with assistance, and she's got some physical therapy to do, and it's scary that she had a stroke, but
right.
But her and I have had ups and downs,
right?
But all of that went away because, and I was talking to a newcomer, and I was like, "Hey, I might get a phone call from my, there's this thing going on," but I showed up for him, and I was able to be there for her, and I was able to like let a lot of that shit go, and realize that like I had integrity by proxy, right? Like I had integrity. I didn't show up. I didn't get sober to like have integrity. I just did it long enough to save my ass that somehow the byproduct of that is I have some integrity. Like it's not by any virtue. And I you know what I mean? That's what I'm hearing from you is like that choosing to turn your life around to save your own ass and do something different in a program or path or whatever you want to call it, go to church, whatever. And it's like the byproduct of that urgency to save your own ass, you learn how to suit up and show up to people in your life. And that's, I mean, I can see that clearly with you right now.
Well, thank you. And that all goes back to, so do I get like a gold star for that? For finally learning how to be a human? Yeah. It doesn't suck,
Yeah. I don't, yeah, there's no gold stars, but I think that, I mean, what people, if you're, I know your dad's death was very sudden, but I would imagine that if we got a chance to interview him at if he knew it was on his way, I bet the things that would be most important in his life were the relationships. I mean, that's the thing that we hear, is that people don't lay on their deathbed saying, I wish I would have had more money in my bank account. I wish I would have bought another car. They say, I cherish my relationships, or I regret, that's the thing. And that's the thing we swim in every day in recovery. And hopefully we don't hide out in it so long that we don't get the chance to have at least a cheesesteak relationship with our dads. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm trying to do. That's all I'm fucking trying to do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, and that's the thing, dude, like, you're suiting up and showing up, but I want to say this as your friend, and I would say this off the mic, but I'm going to say it on the mic. That I hope that you are also allowing yourself I hope you're being, I really hope that you're being gracious with yourself and allowing yourself that space to feel that loss and allow the grief to come and go, and not just saying I got to lock it up because I got to go to work.
Well, that's a little from column A and a little from column B. Like that thing with the Christmas card tonight, like that was part of that process.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, our friend Matt, who also listens. So Matt, this is for you, but
I
don't remember exactly what day it was. But it was short. It was like maybe that weekend, and Matt called me, just to check on me or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
and like my sister and my mom were in the other room, and they could clearly hear my voice, and he's like, so how's it going? And I'm like, well, it's going okay. And he said, no, but how's it going? I'm like, well, it's going okay. And finally she's like, Steve, you don't sound like you're grieving. Why aren't you grieving? I'm like, and I know you can hear him saying that, right?
I can grieve. Are you grieving?
Grieve. Right. Why aren't you grieving?
Like that was I've got a diagram. I'm going to get my $50 pen out, and I'm going to draw you a diagram of grief. Are you ready? I love you, Matt.
Right. He has great pens.
He does. He's an architect. He's got to have good pens and really cool paper or parchment lying around.
But it was, I just had to, like, look, dude, my mom and my sister are listening to this conversation. So everything's fine.
Yeah. Everything's fine now. Call me in an hour when I'm walking the dog and I'm alone. Yeah.
So it was just, so yeah, I mean, like, that's a thing. Like, well, dude, you have to feel the feelings. Why aren't you feeling the feelings? Don't stuff that down. Like, oh my God, like,
yeah.
Like I'm working,
I'm working on it.
It's a balancing act.
Well, that's the thing with, like, when you really start to just not force your experience. It's like when you feel like with the Christmas card, when you allow them to bubble up and you're like, okay, this is happening now.
It's like, just like it happens in early sobriety. It's like all the feelings that were stuffed for 2 decades.
Yeah.
At really weird times.
I'm sure. Yep.
My mom's mom, who I loved, and she was fantastic. She was a very, how do I want to put this? She was a simple person, her life was not anything. I mean, she was a small town Nebraska person, grew up during the Depression, I mean, like, never had a lot of money. But she was great to me and she loved me. And she died while I was out in California doing that whole thing. And like, I was aware that she'd passed away, but I didn't feel it.
Yeah.
Because I didn't feel anything.
Right.
It was not excluding her. It was just part of the thing,
Yeah. The feelings were, I was doing all I could to get rid of that.
Right. And I wasn't exactly on good terms with the family. And it was just, I was like, oh, well, that sucks. I guess I'll go get high now, like, cause it was Tuesday or what,
right. Right. Yeah.
So yeah, I was early in sobriety and I don't even know what happened, but like, it was at a meeting and I, like, the full weight, like the grieving process started 5 years later. in full effect.
Wow.
I'm just bawling at because it dawned on me that I hadn't acknowledged that my favorite grandma,
Yeah.
no offense to my other grandma, but I mean, it's like that.
Yeah.
She was still alive at the time. So it's like,
yeah. Right.
But I mean, I just blubbering,
Yeah.
That's a pretty extreme example, but I mean, like that kind of stuff happens,
Well, that's the thing is like the correlation to recovery is pretty interesting, because I've heard it said, like, when we're drinking and using, we just keep throwing stuff in the back seat.
Yep.
Like, I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to deal with that. And then you got to slam on the brakes before you go off the cliff, and all that shit comes flying to the front seat.
Yep. Yeah. And then, if you don't go off the cliff, then your car's sitting there and you got to like go through all that shit.
You got to go through it.
You got to go through all that. You got to clean up the car.
Right.
So,
overinflated self-importance. I guess I'm not going to need that, although that was kind of how I based my whole life on. I guess I'll throw that out the window. I guess I don't need that.
Comes in handy sometimes. It's a shield.
Man, I don't know, Steve. I love you. I really appreciate you being willing. I mean, that's the thing. It's like we captured it on a podcast, whatever. This is something we would talk about anyway, but
totally. I'm so like my family and my friends.
Yeah.
Like watching the people come out of the woodwork to talk about my dad. And that brought up a lot of feelings, because those people knew him as Colonel Erbauer or Dr. Erbauer or college buddy Erbauer. They didn't know him as dad.
Yeah.
And that was a very different relationship.
Yep.
And so there were times where I just kind of had to smile and say, yes, that's, I'm glad that you got to have that experience.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's really, I had to say that a lot.
Mm-hmm. Which is so gracious and so like the right thing to say, instead of trying to correct their experience with somebody.
Going back to like, it's just, this isn't about you, dude. They just lost their friend. Let them lose their friend.
Wow. We've talked about that's real. That is like the heart of compassion, Steve. Being like, I'm having experience, but they are having a different experience. I don't need to force my experience on them.
Especially now.
Right.
It's that whole like, and I'm gonna get the order wrong, but like, does it need to be said? Does it need to be said now? Mm-hmm. Does it need to be said by me?
Yeah.
And you like really need to run through that list. Like the answer is no.
I need that tattooed on my left arm, like an NFL quarterback has the plays on that wrist thing. I just like, oh yeah, no, I don't need to.
I don't need to say that now. It doesn't need to be said, period, let alone by me right now. Like that's like just smile and give well wishes,
That would save me a lot of shit with my
Tell me
wife.
about it. So yeah, man, like I'm glad to be able to talk with you about this. And if somebody can get some use out of it, then, so much the better. Right.
Yeah. I mean, because here's the thing, like you said, this is not something you can avoid.
Nope.
Our lives are finite. We will all of us, everybody in the world right now will die. And I'm going to die, and this will be out there on the internet forever. But like people that you love are going to expire, your parents, everybody. And it's not something that I think we welcome in with a lot of care and compassion and mindfulness. It's something we've painted to be something really, really scary, or, we tell a lot of mystical stories about it, or we paint it to be something, or we just avoid the shit out of it. And I think that, it's really good. And like how you feel about it tonight on Wednesday, the 13th of January is going to feel a lot different than a week from now, 2 weeks from now. And I just want you to know, and I'll say it in front of God and everybody, even though I don't necessarily have a God of my understanding really right now, that I love you and I'm really grateful for you. Yeah. And I really am. Yeah, it's an honor to get to just be your friend. And
right back at you, man.
Yeah, because like, I don't know. I mean, nobody knows what tomorrow's going to bring. Nope. Nobody knows what losses tomorrow brings.
Nope.
And we all need, oh my God, we all need somebody to lean on, Steve.
I can't believe I said it. Oh my God. I'm not going to sing.
Please. Nope. Yeah. But no, we do. Like that's the thing. Like when I don't know. I'd rather have meaningful friendships like you. I'd rather have a healthy relationship with my wife. I'd rather be of service in the world than anything in my bank account, in my garage, the square footage of my house.
Right.
That's the thing that I equate to gold. So
yeah, me too, man. Me too. And you are my most valued friend, I'm very lucky, just like that Pearl Jam song, like I'm very lucky. I have a handful of men in my life.
Yeah.
That are the relationships are all different.
Yep.
But they're all very special, and I know that they do anything for me, and vice versa. And it's just like when you pick up the phone, it's like, oh, there's my friend.
Yeah.
And it's a safe space, right?
Yeah. Right. Absolutely.
It's a safe space. And like, is there anything more valuable than that?
I can't think of any, honestly, dude. I can't think of anything that has saved my ass more and that I value more. It's like, what is you referenced that Pearl Jam song? I think you're referencing Just Breathe. Yeah. Some folks they got none, while others they got one. And the difference between none and one is infinite.
Yeah, it's huge.
So anybody out there that has one, text them, call them,
for real, something,
hit them up, be there for them. And when you have one, it's easier to have two and three. And yeah. I'll make sure to eat the mic more. I know that was bothering you earlier.
It was bugging me, man. Well, you're the one that's gonna, it sounds like shit. I don't know.
That's true. I'll be the one to be like, hey man, fix the audio. You're an IT guy, man. Can you fix the audio?
Fix the audio.
We'll fix it in post, man. Fix it.
Right. Not a magician, man. Give it all she's got.
I'm not going to do a Scotty impression.
Yeah, I tried. I failed. Did we do it?
I think we did it. I think we talked about, and here's the thing, like, if at anything that this was an opportunity for you to share vulnerably what's going on with you, may everybody that's listening to this open their hearts a little bit more and maybe realize that the cheesesteak relationship they have with that one person in their life could be a lot worse, and reach out to that person. I will definitely do that to the people that I have in my life and that I would be devastated if I lost, and we'll just cherish each other a little bit more. And yeah, so I think we did it, buddy.
Word. Well, thanks everybody for listening.
Yeah.
Find us on Instagram.
Yep. Trying to be better podcast.
Trying to be better podcast. We're
on Instagram.
We're one short of 100 listeners or likes or followers or whatever it is on Instagram.
Wait, at one point we had 100. Did somebody dip?
No, I don't know. I don't think so. But that's been bugging me because I feel like 99 like we're almost there. Because that's
almost there. That's what all that matters is how many.
All that matters,
according to my phone, we have 100 followers.
Oh, really? Well,
yeah.
We picked one up.
We did it.
Fantastic.
I don't know when did the checks start coming in?
I don't know. My kids keep asking me when we're going to be getting that Lamborghini money. I'm like, yeah. As soon as Beyond Burger jumps on board, which by the way, dude, we love Beyond Burgers.
I love Beyond Burger. They're the best. I love them. I love grilling them. I love eating them. They're the best.
They're the best. Yeah. All right. I'll talk to you later.
Oh yeah. And email us, ttbbpodcast@gmail.com, and toot your hooter, everybody, please.
Toot your hooter for real. All right. Later.
All right. Later.